Genie, first off, playing pickleball on the professional tour this year. What's been the biggest surprise for you?
It's wacky, Mark. It's crazy. It's a completely different experience. I think the biggest shock was actually the level of the players. They're all professionals. And, I had only, before agreeing to play, had only played with my friends and amateurs who, even if they were tennis players, were still amateur pickleball players. And so, competing against players who've done this for like, specifically trained this skill for a couple years, 5 years, 10 years is I felt totally out of my league at the beginning of the year, and it was a shock. But now I've trained and feel like I'm a little bit closer and getting a little better.
What's the biggest difference between pickleball and tennis?
The biggest thing is the dinking. I mean, I have learned for 25 years that a short ball in the middle of the court is bad. And now suddenly I'm playing a sport where that's good. And so it's really been a struggle to like rewire my brain. And especially when I get into the points and it's really quick paced, you don't really have time to think. So I revert to like instinctive playing. And obviously, instinctive playing for me is tennis. And so then I'll be in the middle of a point having hit a couple good pickleball shots, and then I'll suddenly try to hit tennis shots because I don't even have time to think anymore, and it just totally messes me up. So yeah, I feel like honestly, if I hadn't even come from tennis, I would do better, because coming from tennis is just so different. And so I have to like change things that have just been in my brain for so long. Whereas if you start like fresh with a clean slate with no other racket sport experience, you'll probably do better at pickleball.
What about off court? It's a much different travel, just life on the tour. What's been the biggest difference off the court?
I mean, I love how the travel has been less intense than tennis. It's only in the US, first of all. Tournaments are 4 days to 6 days, less than a week long. And so I don't have to, do those very long extended trips that that we do very well in tennis. And so that part has been nice in terms of just quality of life and less, tough struggle and sacrifice with the travel. And we go to like fun cities in the US, which are nice to explore as well. So the travel aspect is definitely easier than tennis, that's for sure.
So you are an aggressive baseliner in tennis. Do you have a style yet in pickleball? Or are you still kind of feeling that out?
Well, it's very different with the different categories. So for singles, obviously, I'm still kind of like that. I try to get to the kitchen line, like I try to get to the net as soon as possible. I just feel like playing aggressively is better, because I just feel like every time an opponent comes to the net on me or comes to the kitchen line on me, I lose the point. So I'm like, I should probably try this in reverse. Doubles and mixed is more of the skill. I would say that's harder to learn because there's a lot more of the short court play. And that one, I have been lucky to have partners that have been better than me. So I'm mostly just relying on that right now.
We have seen you play some tennis as well recently. Billie Jean King Cup at the end of last year. You're part of Team Canada that won it all. And this
Yeah.
year you have played an ITF event. How much more tennis are you hoping to play the rest of the season?
Well, first, let me tell you that going back to tennis after pickleball was a shock for my body. I mean, I was in so much pain. I did happen to play in extreme conditions. It was super hot, super humid, right outside of Tampa, Florida, 75K. And I mean, my body hurt for days after that. I won a couple of singles matches, won a doubles match. So I played a lot back to back, but it was brutal. Like every muscle hurt. And I was just like, oh, this is what it was like. So I do want to play a couple more events this year. I'll hopefully see you in Toronto. That's the plan for the next one. And then we'll figure something out for more the end of the season. But that's kind of what I'll be preparing for next. I'll start training in July for that.
What do you miss most about the tennis tour? Obviously, maybe not the travel, but is there an
No.
element of it that, yeah, no, but is there an element of it that you miss more than others?
Definitely not the travel. What I do miss the most is really just hitting the ball. I love tennis at its core. It's the love of my life, and it's what I started with when I was younger, and nothing will be able to replace that. And so just that feeling of hitting the ball and playing something that you feel like you've mastered as well. That's what I struggled with in pickle at the start, because I just felt like a fish out of water. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And I've not been used to that. I feel like for 10 years or so, or 15 years, I've kind of mastered tennis at the respective levels I was at. And so to feel just like totally unable to like do something was like very humbling, very challenging, which I like to do. I love to challenge myself. But I do miss like feeling that hitting the ball and then like feeling good on the court, like feeling that confidence, I think is something that I miss.
Well, probably when you had the most confidence was Wimbledon 2014, which we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of that run, which is crazy to think.
I can believe it's 10 years, but I also cannot believe it. It's feels like it's impossible for it to have been 10 years. And then I think about everything I've done since then. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, that feels like more than 10 years. That feels like 20 years of life compressed into 10, honestly.
Yeah, on one hand, it was yesterday. On the other hand, you have
Exactly.
gone through quite a bit since then.
Yeah.
So even just me, that was my first Wimbledon that I covered. I got some vivid memories.
Yeah.
I'm wondering when you think back, what are your most vivid memories of that amazing magical run at the All England Club?
I mean, I just remember feeling so good, so confident, winning matches and feeling like it was totally normal, and I remember getting asked in press a lot, like, are you surprised by what's happening? And I kept saying like, no, I've been working towards this for 15 years. So that constant feeling of like, I belong here. This is what I am meant to do. As well as, I mean, when I look back at the results, I remember I made the finals without losing a set. And so that's just very kind of a dominant run. And, I was just so in my bubble and not really kind of realizing it because like I said, in my head, in a way it felt normal. Obviously looking back with time and just appreciating what I did is totally not normal, but in that moment, which I think what helped me, it was that it totally felt normal.
Yeah, I remember time and time again in press, you're like, this is
I
what I
know.
expect. This is where I want to be. This is where I think I should be.
Right.
Uh, Off the court, it was crazy too, like all the hoopla around you. I remember I found a way to interview Jim Parsons there, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? It was like
Oh my gosh.
crazy. And he was
Miss
great. And
Jim. He was the
yes,
best supporter. He
yeah.
extended his stay to keep watching me because I kept winning matches. So he literally kept moving his flight back every time I'd win a match. And it was just one of those like magical weeks and magical runs. And I'm obviously so grateful to have achieved that.
Yeah, he was. I was trying to get you on The Big Bang Theory back then. I was trying to get you a cameo, as I recall. But is there something off the court that stood out to you from that tournament back in 2014?
I mean, just the, I don't know, kind of change in the way people probably looked at me and started talking to me and, feeling the respect in the locker room and feeling the respect off the court in whether it's press or fans, things like that. Obviously, when I went back to Canada afterwards, that was very life-changing. And I just felt very, noticed, a lot of eyes on me and just kind of a whole different lifestyle that I was entering into. And, that comes with the territory, not complaining at all about it. I'm grateful to that part as well. It also gave me lots of things. So, just kind of achieving great things like that brings you special things that I guess normal people wouldn't experience.
How are you different now? As you mentioned, you've lived a lot in the last 10 years.
I'm older. I just turned 30 this year, so we're not going to talk about that. Um, I feel like I just feel like I have more perspective. When you're in the middle of something, it's just so hard to like kind of understand what's going on. And so I feel like I'm able to look at the results I had, from a kind of step back, even just tennis as a whole, my career as a whole, just very like kind of accepting of the good and the bad. I mean, you can't have good without bad, right? So for me, it's like really just appreciating the ups and downs of life and being grateful for the whole journey and just really accepting, just kind of being comfortable with who I am, what I've done, which includes all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and kind of just being excited for the future and next chapters and new things.
I know you're doing some analyst work with Tennis Channel.
Yes.
How closely have you
Which
been?
includes that. Yes.
Yes. So how closely have you been following, I guess, the tour? You obviously are focused on pickleball.
Yeah.
How much are you following what's going on?
So to be completely honest, especially at the beginning of the year, I didn't because I kind of dived into this whole pickle world. And so I was a little bit not following like all the specific results. Obviously, the bigger events are hard to avoid just because it's what I see on TV or even my social media. I follow so many tennis accounts. And so I'm able to kind of stay in the loop that way. But I do need to get back into it. So this week specifically, I'm going to have Tennis Channel on all the time and just be kind of studying and looking back at past results. And we're going to be doing grass court events next week, of course. So something that I dearly love, and I'll be excited to get back in there and again, challenging myself in this different area where it's something I potentially want to do later in life as well. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunity. And people told me I'm decent at it. So I want to just keep kind of like working on it, not like let too long of time go by without doing some. Stay active, stay sharp, as I'm sure you feel like you do whenever you are live on camera. So I'm super excited. I love the challenge of TV and I've really enjoyed it.
You seem, really at peace with everything, and certainly you've gone through a lot. Is there anything that you are like, I still want to do this unfinished business when it comes to your athletic life and career and tennis and anything?
I mean, look, I'm going to play pickleball events for the rest of the year and a couple tennis events as well. So I'm not shutting the door on anything right now. I really enjoy both. I love the new opportunity and challenge of pickle. I love the nostalgia and what my life is with tennis. So I love both. I want to keep the door open on both. In terms of a specific achievement, it's kind of hard to say when I'm kind of in both worlds. Just do as well as I can with those things and really just look forward as well, and just be aware of opportunities that I can do beyond that, which include some of this TV stuff and other stuff. I'm out in LA right now, like looking at movie stuff, TV stuff, and just, I don't know, why just stay in one lane? I know back in the day when I did other things, people got on my case, but nowadays everyone does everything. And so it's way more accepted nowadays to do it all.
You were a trendsetter, right?
I would like to
In
think
some
so.
ways.
I was the first tennis player like on social media. I was the first one doing all this other stuff and got a lot of hate for it. And now if you're not doing that, you'll be asked, why are you not doing everything you can possibly do? But back in the day when I did it, they were like, you should be only doing tennis. What are you doing? So I like to think I paved the way for my younger counterparts.
You mentioned TV, you mentioned movies. Like, can you give us a hint of something that you're thinking
Well,
about?
the Twitter date movie that has
Right.
been long in the works that got kind of slowed down by COVID for a couple of years there is hopefully back on. So I've had some meetings out here and looking forward to progressing with that and hope that can become something. And again, it's another world where like seeing the behind the scenes of how these things work is super interesting to me as well. So just kind of dipping my toes in a bunch of different areas and seeing what I like and what maybe I'm even good at or not good at.